Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, today we're going to be doing another Spy Family review. We're going to be looking at arc number 7, which is contained in the vast majority of this volume, right? So up to this little red mark here, this is the front half of this book, is all arc 7, the midterm exams arc. And let me tell you exactly what chapters that would be. That would be chapters 24 through 28, right? So it's only 5 chapters, and it's pretty fun, right? So yeah, it's written by Tatsuya Endo. It's published by Viz Media. The demographic is shonen. The genres are action comedy. It does have an adaptation, which is quite good. And the rating for this arc is 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this one, right? So yeah, the premise is that basically it's time for the midterms, and Anya needs to study. And so help is called in the form of Yuri. And well, it doesn't really go that great, but it's good enough, right? And I don't really know why I like this arc more than Bond's arc, like the Doggy Crisis arc, because I feel like that one is much better. Like there's more stuff happening in that arc, but for some reason this one was just much more enjoyable to me. Like I liked it a little bit more. It made me quite a little bit happier than the previous arc, right? So yeah, in terms of plotline here, basically opens up with this really sketchy feeling Yor. Like there's something off about her. Like Yor is kind of getting home late. She's not really feeling great. She's not really interacting with them properly, and there's something wrong. And it basically, you initially kind of feel sketched out, like you don't know what's going on, but then it turns out that she's basically just been trying to learn to cook, and she's doing quite badly at it, and she's kind of disheartened by it, right? And so she's not feeling great at home, and she's kind of coming home late because she's trying to deal with these things, right? And she's trying to get better, but it's not really working out for her that well. Eventually she does manage to do a good job making this specific stew. I think it should be something like paprikash or something like that, or maybe some sort of like borscht type stew type soup, because of like the setting and what it's based on, right? But I'm not really sure. And eventually she makes it, and then she decides to go home and try to make it for everyone else, right? And it's a really good chapter. I really love this episode. This part of the story, this chapter of the story. I did not watch the anime. I'm only reading the manga, but you know, sometimes I get confused between all of these different terminologies for the same thing, which is a portion of the story, right? But anyway, that doesn't really matter. The point is that this part of the story was phenomenal, and I think that's why I like this arc more than the previous one. Like this bit here with Yor trying her best to do well for her family is phenomenal. Like I really like that part, right? So yeah, we move on. It basically turns out that Anya needs to do good because she wants to get her Stella. She wants to do good because she also wants to find a way to make Damien invite her to his house so that they can achieve their Operation Strix objectives. But it doesn't really work because Anya and Damien are at odds with each other, right? Because that's just kind of how their situation works. The plan doesn't work. She does pretty badly, right? So yeah, it fails, but it's okay. And this plan that she had was basically trying to get Damien interested in Bond so that he could invite her to his house, and it just doesn't work because Anya's bad at making the situation happen so that Damien is interested in Bond, right? So it is what it is, but it was pretty funny. I liked it. And then she decides to help him make an art piece, right? And it doesn't work well for her because she's bad at doing all of this stuff, because I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be younger than everyone else, or she's kind of dumb. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's because she's younger. And it doesn't really help, and Damien's kind of upset about her trying to help him and doing these things. But eventually, it actually turns out that Damien wins the little contest of these arts and crafts projects because Anya's crappy version of Bond that she made out of paper works to help his art have a better like vibe to it, like because they're both crappy and they're both in this weird interesting shape that's supposed to look like a griffin. People think that they're kind of making a statement about the difficulties and realities of war and how brutal it is, right? But of course it's not. They're just bad at art, and so Damien wins this prize, right? Which is cool, but it's pretty ridiculous, right? And then Yuri is called in. Yor tells Yuri, "Hey, can you help my daughter study?" And he's like, "Well, I don't really want to help this like thing because she's like Lloyd's daughter, and he doesn't like Lloyd. But because Yor asked me to, I have to because I want Yor to praise me, right?" So he kind of has this whole ridiculous like interior monologue about this situation, and eventually decides to help regardless, right? And he tries to help her, but Anya's stupid, so he continues to try to make it work by trying to get her excited about it. It kind of works, and then it turns out that they were studying the wrong thing the whole time, and well, it doesn't end up working. It's kind of useless, but it's still really enjoyable and fun, and I really like this interaction between Yuri and Anya. I think it's cute. And eventually she has to take her exam, but she doesn't do that good. She's kind of in the middle of the pack. She ends up being number 213 out of 500 or something, which means that she didn't fail, which is good because that means she doesn't get Tonitrus, you know, the little lightning bolt badges, which means she doesn't get expelled. But she didn't get a Stella, so that's bad. However, for Anya, this is perfect because she's like, well, I didn't do bad, and I did way better than everyone was expecting me to, so I succeeded, right? And I think it's quite cute that she thinks this, and it's pretty funny. And then there's an extra chapter here that is about this kid. His name is Gluman, or Glumman, and this kid looks like Frankenstein. And basically he's angry at Damien because he thinks that Damien's dad is doing a corporate takeover of his company, of his dad's company, to leave them to ruin, right? And it turns out that that's not the case. But this whole like chapter focuses on everyone in the school trying to help this Gluman kid feel better, right? And then it turns out that it was actually the opposite, that Damien's dad is only doing things to help this family. And so this kid has to come back to school and kind of face the consequences of like basically tricking his classmates into doing stuff for him, right? And so it ends up being a pretty funny situation, and I quite liked it. I thought it was cute, and also I really liked like this feeling of camaraderie between all of these kids that, you know, you didn't really expect because they're always fighting, you know, between each other. But it works out really nicely, and I really liked it. I thought it was great, and also that kind of like ironic ending was pretty funny as well, right? So overall, I like the plot line a lot. In terms of characters, we get introduced to George, who's the Glumman kid. Yuri gets more relevant in this part, and Yuri is super nice, and we get a little bit of backstory about her and Yuri's relationship and why they grew up the way they did, and you know why they ended up doing what they ended up doing in their life, right? So overall, good stuff here. In terms of world building, we learned that Anya gets eclipsed by the moon, right? So her powers are somehow tied to the moon, which means that when there is a new moon, when there is no moon in the sky, Anya's powers become weaker, so weak in fact that she can't use them. And so this is a big plot point, which is why she needs to study, because otherwise she can't read minds, right? And so she would fail if she didn't study at all. And I thought this was good. This is pretty interesting world building for that, right? So I liked it. And in terms of artwork and fan service, the artwork is amazing. There is no fan service this time. And it's all overall pretty cute, right? So yeah, ratings wise, it's a 5 out of 5. I'm not really sure why, but this was like, I really enjoyed this arc more than the previous one. So there you go. That's really all I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know your thought. And thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys later.